So this chap here, that's my oil pump. Well, that bit's the oil pump and that bit's the water pump. And what I'm going to be showing you in this video is me taking this oil pump out and inspecting it to see why I've got a bit of a low oil pressure problem. I've got a little bit of a problem with low oil pressure at idling. It makes the light flicker. It's okay, as soon as you bring the revs up, the oil pressure comes good. So it's probably something like a sticky oil pressure relief valve or something else going on. But we're going to find out today what's going on. So there's not a lot of information out there about things like this or oil pressure problems on the what are called twin motor. So I'm going to get in there myself and try and find out myself, and that's why I make these videos, so that there is more information out there. To do this, I need to actually get the sump off, but I also need to get the clutch off, because the drive for the oil pump itself, the chain, is actually attached to the back of the clutch, so I've got to take all the clutch apart as well. And to get the sump off, you can't get to the bolts because the frame rails are in the way. So the frame rails have got to come off as well. So it's a bit of a pain. I have made a video before about actually changing the clutch spring, so I have shown this before, but what I'll show you again is when you pull this cover off, that shaft will pull out of that gear there, and that gear will fall down, so you've got to watch that. That's easy to put back in, and also that little washer there falls off, and not a lot of people know where it goes because it drops off and they don't see, but that goes over your selector shaft there for your gears. So it's pretty easy to get this shaft back in. You just get your torch sorted out first. I pull that shaft out and then you can actually see where it's got to go, and you can hold it there. So it's quite easy to get back in. There you go, like that, and that will hold it there. So now we're going to take the 3 bolts out the clutch springs will come off, and then all the clutch plates will come out, and then we're going to undo the centre bolt and take the clutch out. But to undo the centre bolt, I've got to lock the gearbox up. That's why I've done this first, so that I can actually have the bike on its wheels, wheel it up to the wall there and put it in gear, so that I can actually, so the engine doesn't turn over. But I'll take the clutch off first. Right, so now what we've got to do is we've got to get the nut off this centre shaft for the clutch. But you see that spinning round, so what we've got to do is put it in gear and then stop the bike from moving for us to be able to turn that round. So I'm going to do that now. That's interesting. So let's see if I can stand on the foot brake. stand on the brake while I'm doing this. There we go. I didn't need to put it against the wall because it's actually going backwards. Now that centre bit of the clutch will come out like that, and there's a washer behind it like that. I'm filming this so I can remember where it all goes back together if I forget. That's a good thing about filming. If you forget where something goes, you can go back and look at it. So now this doesn't directly pull off of this. What you need to do is get this centre roller bearing and sleeve out first to give this enough play to, I'm not sure what it has to miss, but there's not enough play in it with that bearing in, so you've got to get that bearing out and that centre sleeve out. Oh, and the other bearings come out with it. So them needle roller bearings have to come out like that. Then this whole lot should come out. After a bit of jiggery pokery, like that. And then there, that's the drive for your oil pump, which picks up in them 3 holes on the back of the flywheel, would you call that? I don't know. But that's what we want to get off, that there, because that goes round our oil pump there. So now it's a case of getting exhaust off, the frame rails off, dropping the sump, and then I can unbolt the oil pump. But that's how the clutch comes apart. It seems that whatever I have to do on this bike, I've got to take the intercooler off. So, because the intercooler is actually bolted to the little splash guard underneath, which is bolted to the frame rails. I'm getting the frame rails off at the moment, so that's why I've got to take the intercooler off. So, having a supercharger on it is much more of a pain in the arse to work on things. So, I'm getting really good at taking this intercooler on and off. Right, so now I need a 12mm to undo that. Where's my 12mm gone? Oh, it'd be nice if it was in reach. I can't be asked to get up. Oh, it's all getting loose, it likes that. And now it's got the oil filter from your supercharger zip tied to it, so I need to take that off as well. Right, and I know that I'm also going to have the wire for the kickstand switch there in a way, and a bloody oil pipe for me oil cooler on the supercharger, I normally just flick that round and undo that. I can't flip it round. What can't I? What's going on here? Let's give that a bit of that. Turn that round there, and I'll take that switch off. I could undo it this end, but I can't be bothered to go and find the other end of that wire. So I normally just undo these 2 screws. I've done this many times now, taken all this apart. I reckon I've spent way more hours working on this bike than I have riding it, but that's okay, because that's what I enjoy. Right, so the point I've got to now is, I was just getting my X-pipe off, and I need to get this frame rail off to get the sump off, but this pain in the arse thing is in the way of the bolt which holds the motor to this frame, so I've got to get the whole supercharger off, which is a real pain in the arse. So the worst thing about this supercharger is every time you go to work on the bike, you've got to do a shit ton more work. So that's where I'm at tonight, so I'm going to call it a day and crack back on with it tomorrow. Right, so I've got both the frame rails off around here. So now I've undone the bolts for the sump nearly. I've got to take the oil filter off because that squishes the sump in between it. So I'll take the oil filter off here. I have drained all the oil, but there's probably going to be some come out in here. Yep, I don't have a drip tray. I didn't realise there was going to be that much oil coming out. Let's do that up again and go and get a drip tray. Bollocks, man. There's oil everywhere now. Right. Let's try that again. And now no oil's come out. Now I've got a drip tray. Right, where was I? Spewing oil all over the floor. Oh yeah, just a few more little bolts to hold this sump on, which now I'm covered in oil and not so easy to undo. I'm really enjoying this actually, because I'm in no hurry to get this done at the moment, and I'm just doing it in the evenings when I feel like it with a couple of runs. And it reminds me of when I was young and I used to get back from work and work on my cars in the evening, and then it also reminds me of Saturday mornings when you'd wake up on a Saturday morning early to work on your car and stuff. That was really cool. But getting involved in drag racing and stuff like that, it brings you them feelings back again, man. Right, I think I've got all the bolts. There's probably another one up there. There is. See, this is the trouble with working on the floor. It's very hard to see stuff, so I can't get under there. But luckily I've got another engine over there which I took the other oil pump out of, which is upside down, so I know how things go, so it's a lot easier for me. There he is there, right up there. So I reckon if I get this bolt out, the sump should come off. But for now, is there another bolt there? I don't reckon, because I don't think it would be that loose. What's up there? Oh, there is. There's another bolt up here somewhere. And then the sump drops down like that. There is a couple of dowels in it as well. One's there and one's probably, yeah, one's in the other bit.
You've got your oil strainer there, which I think just pulls off. That's right, it just pulls off. What's in there? Anything? Oh, that's a bit messy. There's oil seal there. I'll leave that there for now. Right, that's that for now. That's the oil pump there. Well, that bit's the water pump, I believe, and that side's the oil pump. I'm actually going to drain the coolant because half of that's the coolant pump, and coolant's going to go everywhere. So if I drain it off first, I can actually catch it and keep it, save it, use it again. It's going to be less messy. So I've got some proper pliers for doing this. I don't know where they are though, so I'm using these. A bit of WD-40 help. Right, will that come off of there without a screwdriver? No, let's hang on. Where's my screwdriver? Right, one screwdriver. Let's give that a little bit of a persuade around there, and then the coolant starts to leak out and lubricates it a bit. The thing is though, I've now got to move my fuel tank to top the coolant back up, and that's the only reason I've got to actually move that. So just 3 bolts, and this should drop out. Hopefully there's not much water in there. Drain most of it. There's probably a bit there because it's quite a bit lower. Right, and it should come out. Might need a bit of persuasion because it's on seals. So yeah, it's the water pump side. Oi! I hate coolant and oil, brake fluid, all of that. Right, so that is inside the oil pump. What I've actually done is I've actually inspected it and I've measured the clearance between the outside and the inside, and it's got hardly any wear on it at all. There's a couple of little superficial marks on the outside there and the case there where it's picked a little bit of something up, but there's nothing actually wrong with the pump itself. But what I've done is it's more likely to be the pressure relief valve, which I've taken apart here, which is basically this plunger goes in there. Hang on, I'm going to go and get a tripod. I can't do this while I'm holding it. Right, so where was I? Right, that's the oil pressure relief valve there, and that fits inside this sleeve. So that just pops in there. I've just got to get it past the C-clip groove. Actually, it's a little bit stiff there. It pushes down to the bottom, and then the spring goes on it and is held in with a clip at the top. And when the oil pressure gets when the oil pressure pushes the spring, and when it gets excessive, it opens up that hole there and lets oil out to these. And when it gets really open, it's, don't know if you can see, that goes up like that. But what I found is, see, the only reason it would make an oil difference at idle is if this was sticking open a little bit, and it is when it's right closed there. There's a little tight spot at the bottom. It's a little tight spot right at the bottom there, and if you have a look on this plunger, where's the lens? It's over here. You see that little mark there where it's been grabbing? I'm hoping that's what my problem was. But what I've got is I've got the other oil pump out of the speed twin motor. I'm going to stick that straight in, and see what happens. So what you can actually do if you want more oil pressure is, once this is together and the spring's in there, this little washer holds everything down. You can actually put thicker washers in, and then that will push out, give that spring more tension, so it has to have greater oil pressure to actually overcome the spring tension. That's a way you can actually improve the oil pressure. Also, when this is in, we used to do this with the VWs, is instead of having that C-clip there holding that together, you can actually, we used to have a adjustable threaded bolt what used to push this down, so you could actually adjust your oil pressure. Be very difficult on this because it's all in a sump, but to actually adjust it on the fly, but you could actually do it by having the bolt going in the end there to actually give the oil pressure relief valve an adjustable greater spring tension if you want. So that's something worth looking into in the future, I reckon. Right, the other day when I took this strainer off, I had a quick look at it, and there was a few little bits in there which I didn't think much to, but then when I went to fit it, I had a better look at it, and all the stuff was up that end where it gets sucked in. There was all this stuff. It's like fibrous, so I don't know what it is, but yeah, there's a heap of it in there. I reckon that's what my problem was. So I'm going to put a new strainer on. So whatever's happened, something has fell in the engine, like, I don't know what it is. It's like little fibres of some sort. So that's what's happened there. It's had some debris fall in the engine, or it might have been in the oil or something like that. But I'm going to cut the oil filter open and have a look at that. Yeah, it's got some of that stuff there. Look.
Right, that's that then. So I reckon that's what my oil pressure problem was, just something, the debris had fallen into the engine and got stuck in that strainer. So hopefully, I'm pretty certain that's what it was. We're going to get it all back together again in the next video, and I'll also be putting the standard exhaust water modified on the bike as well. So hopefully you'll see that in the next video too. There's not a lot of information out there about this sort of stuff, which is why I'm making these videos. So now there is more information out there. So if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe, like this video, comment, I'll get back to you. And have a great day.